Okay, back for second segment of Downright Sports. Going to do this segment, the news, and then we're going to do a little wrestling segment. That's right, brother. My wrestling voice sucks. Any case, the NBA, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame commenced this weekend, and we got to see some new honorees enter the Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen. Who were some of the lucky recipients? Well, headlining the class of 2025 was Carmelo Anthony. And then Dwight Howard and Maya Moore, one of my favorite players, she entered the Hall of Fame too. So did Sue Bird. That's what you call people who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Let me just throw that out there. The Hall of Fame also welcomed oh boy, there's some names, some questionable names. Let me try this again. I'm being generous, all right? I'm being very, very generous. The Basketball Hall of Fame this year let in not bums. Bums is polite. Mediocre players into the Hall of Fame on a technicality. After this weekend, I noticed that the NBA, the Naismith Hall of Fame is no different than the WWE Hall of Fame. Basically, you can make it by showing up and being lucky to be in an event. Here are some names. Here's a group that made it, okay? You ready? So, Billy Donovan, who won back-to-back national championships at Florida and has over 500 career wins as a head coach in college basketball. In fact, his career is 502 to 206 losses. Okay, that's great. And then he went to the NBA, and he's been pretty good. He's got an above 500 record, but Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame, Billy Donovan, head coach. When you're sitting around and you're like, Krzyzewski, Dean Smith, John Wooden, Pat Riley, Red Auerbach, Billy Donovan? And no, nobody said Billy. He's a fine coach. He's a great coach. But quite frankly, I don't even think he stayed in college basketball long enough to get in. How long was he a head coach of college basketball? I don't feel like counting. 97 to 2015, and then he jumped to the pros. And you throw him in because he won 2 back-to-back national champions? That's all it took? That's it? Jeez. That's it? Well, crud. I know it's difficult to win a championship in college basketball, but this guy had NBA players top to bottom. One of them still in the league. Al Horford, which is mind-blowing because that championship was in 2000 and what was that championship? That championship was in 2007. yeah, Al Horford's still going. Good for him. Anyway, I don't know how Billy Donovan's getting, but that Billy Donovan does not irk me as much as this next group. So they decided to put into the Hall of Fame. Now, freeze. Before I go full nuclear, I understand that as much as this is a great ceremony, it's also a TV show, and you need eyeballs to come to the screen. So whoever did the selection committee felt like, if we put the Redeem Team in the Hall of Fame, everybody will show up to watch that. Yeah, no, that's not what the hell happened. So in 2008, after the fiasco of 2004, USA Basketball returned to prominence as it won a gold medal for the first time since 2000. And because there was so much talk on how bad they looked in 2008, that team did look pretty bad. But it was, what do we do? Let me name some people that was on this team, okay? LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard, Chris Paul, and Carmelo Anthony, all in their prime. I think the Redeem team was going to be good. Excuse me. I think the team was going to be pretty good. That team made it to the Hall of Fame, and if I just left it with those names, including Jason Kidd, you would say, "Oh, well, duh." But when you now mention Hall of Famers, when you have to mention guys like Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. You know who else name you have to mention in that? Well, let's try Tayshaun Prince. Let's try Michael Redd. Let's try Devin Williams. Let's try Carlos Boozer. I'm going to leave one name off on purpose. They are all now Hall of Famers. I've never cursed on this show before, so I'm going to steal something from a good friend of mine, Nathan Harris. What the frick? What are we doing here, people? What are we doing here? Carlos Boozer, Devin Williams, Michael Redd, Tayshaun Prince are in the Hall of Fame? No way in hell would you have said those words, because that's how absurd this has become. The NBA, the basketball, and I get it, it's a museum. You honor people, you enshrine the team, but I don't think all those guys should be considered a Hall of Famer. Not to mention now, LeBron and Chris Paul, while still playing, are Hall of Fame players, which just adds to the catalog. Which is fine, they were going in anyway. But what do we do? Like, really? No. Quite frankly, I bet you if you polled half the country that pay attention, nobody would have thought, imagine, I didn't know Boozer, Williams, Redd were on that team. I forgot they were on that team, because I promise you their playing time was probably less than two minutes. Like, I did not know. Did anybody else? Because I sure hell didn't. And you can't, no, guys. They can't be in the Hall. The Hall of Fame in all sports is supposed to really, all jokes aside, it's supposed to be Mount Everest. It's not Mount Olympus. Titans are supposed to be in the Hall of Fame. And the Basketball Hall of Fame has recently become a place where, just because you showed up, put on a pair of sneakers, we're going to throw you in. And it's what's really, in my opinion, devalued the Hall of Fame out of all the Hall of Fames. Out of the Baseball Hall of Fame, which in my opinion is the most prestigious, Football Hall of Fame, which kind of lets in the most, but now the Basketball Hall of Fame, you have so many what ifs in it, it's crazy to even think about. Some of your what ifs that are in the Hall of Fame. Chris Bosh, that's a what if to me. Bosh was a fine player, but Bosh's career was cut short. Bosh's impact on the game was not as Chris Bosh was a, how do I say this? Robert Horry-like player. He was. If you go back and watch Robert Horry kind of early in his career, he kind of did the same things. Now, Bosh was great on Toronto, but once he got to Miami, he was a grade up Robert Horry. Robert Horry's B, Chris Bosh was B+. Chris Bosh was a little bit better Chandler Fry. Chandler Fry was a fine player. Chris Bosh was just a little bit better. I don't know if we can sit here and go, can you say Bosh is a Hall of Famer? Like, I get what happened to him, but I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer. Like, let's be real here. You got, Dwight Howard is an interesting one. Dwight had a fantastic career until he got to Houston. And he had some shining moments, and actually, I take that back. Dwight had a fantastic career until he got to the Lakers. Once he got to the Lakers, we don't know what happened there. nobody really knows. It's not that big a deal. But it is recognized it was a moment in time in the league where Dwight Howard was, without a doubt, one of the three best players in the game. What was it? LeBron, Dwight, and Kobe? Like, that was a true conversation. But I don't know if, are we letting people in because they had flashes of greatness, or are we letting you in because you had longevity? Magic was great from start to finish. Bird was great from start to finish. Jordan, great start to finish. Kevin Garnett, start to finish. Akeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, guys who, yes, now Barkley towards the end of his career was old and kept going, but Dwight was still almost in the prime of his career before we just saw a quick decline. So look real quick, and Dwight was more of a defensive guy, but offensively he could get busy too. So let's not get it twisted. But if we look at his point total, right, he never was going to lead the league in scoring. That's not how his game goes. So we're not going to measure it in that. But even in the case of where he contributed, his last year in Orlando, that's the wrong stat. Where are we? His last year in Orlando, 14 total rebounds, 2 blocks a game, 20 points. That was an MVP-like season. He should have got it. His first year with the Lakers, 12 rebounds, 17 points. He played 76 games. Strong season. That was 1 year. Then he went to Houston for 3 seasons. Those 3 seasons in Houston, he averaged 11 rebounds, fewer blocks. Then he went to Charlotte. He went to Atlanta. He went to Philly. He went back he went to Washington. And you could just see, look, and then his scoring just went down. So, as great as he was those first few years in Orlando, are we putting him in for that? Was that enough? If it is, fine. You don't have to convince me. But, I don't know if Dwight should be in. There's a reason why he got left off the all-time 75 list, or was it 85, or whatever the stupid list was. And that's the point I'm making. He got left off a list, and you put him in the Hall of Fame. You did not consider him good enough to be an all-timer, but he got in the Hall of Fame? Where does that make sense? Think about that. All right. If you're watching on Facebook, listen on DJ Chase Radio, and you're watching on YouTube, it's time for the news. Time for the percolator. It's time for the percolator. And if you listen to the podcast, it's just time for the next segment. We'll be right segment 3. Stick around. We're going to the ropes. It's turnbuckle time, brother. But first, downright news for Downright Sports. It's time for the percolator. It's time for the percolator. Oh, no. Oh, there it is. Got cute music, right? Got cute music. Get cute music. All right, it's time for the new Downright News. Let's jump into it. Make it quick. Rest in peace, Davey Johnson, the manager of the Mets that won the World Series in '86, passed away. Davey Johnson was a winner on every team he managed. The Mets, the Reds, the Washington Nationals. The guy has a winning record everywhere, and he will be missed. Rest in peace, sir. NFL, Kerry Kittles and Brock Purdy both out. Looks like they could be. Brock Purdy could be out for week 2. Kittles is out for weeks. In the WNBA, Alicia Taylor takes back the assist record. The only thing last season, Caitlin Clark was the assist holder, single season assist holder. Well, Thomas said, let me get that back. Let's talk about games, son. College football, to be exact. What happened? Well, games. Ohio State said, hey, Grambling, come visit. Well, you did, and you're losing 70-0. Archie Manning threw 4 touchdowns, 295 yards for Texas to pick up a victory, 28-7 over San Jose State. Nice bounce back for him. Upset alert! Mississippi State beat number 12 Arizona State. South Florida beat number 13 Florida 18-16. NFL, anyone? The game I previously mentioned, the Buffalo Bills came back to beat the Ravens 41-40. Arizona beat New Orleans 20-13. The 49ers beat the Seahawks 17-13. Just to name a few. Baseball standings as the pennant race heats up. Toronto is 2 games over the Yankees. The Yankees picked up 2 against them after losing a bad one on Friday. The Red Sox are 3.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, they face the Yankees this week. They are 8 games over the Kansas City Royals. Out west, the Houston Astros are 2.5 over the Seattle Mariners. Mariners won the last 2. Houston lost 1. Both teams are 4-6 in their last 10. The Phillies are 7 games over the Mets. The Mets lost their last 2. The Mets are 4-6 in their last 10. Philly is just games and games away from winning the division. Hold on 1 second. I want to check something. I'm moving. Get there. I'm moving. I got to see the magic numbers. Is the magic numbers here? What is this? Nope. I don't have the magic numbers. Crap. I'm trying to get the magic numbers to clinch. Sorry. Milwaukee, 8 games on Chicago, and the Dodgers and the Padres are down to just the Dodgers are a game over them. The wild card standings look like what? Let me tell you. Let me talk to you. The Yankees are 5 up on the Red Sox. Seattle is a game and a half over Texas, and 2 over the Guardians, and 2 over Kansas City. In the National League, the Cubs are 5 up on the Padres. The Padres are 2.5 on the Mets. The Mets are 3.5 over the Reds. Let's go to the WNBA, whose playoffs start this weekend. Right now, the playoff picture is almost set. Seattle and the Sparks are waiting. But the Lynx, the Aces, who are on a 14-game winning streak, the Dream, Phoenix, the Liberty, Valkyrie, the expansion team is in. The Fever and Seattle Storm are all in the playoffs again start this weekend. This has been the Downright Sports News. We'll be back with more show.
You are now listening to the hottest station, WDJC TV, Radio, www.djchaseradio.com.
All right, let's wrap up this show, shall we? As my eyes are burning. This Minnesota-Chicago game is ugly. It looked good. I spoke too soon. Minnesota does not look like the team they had last year. Maybe they should have kept Sam Darnold. Just saying. God dog it. My eyes burning. What the heck? All right, let's wrap up, shall we? As my eye just completely refused to cooperate. This past Friday on SmackDown, AJ Lee returned. After 10 years away from the WWE, AJ Lee, I remember when she debuted. Boy, it was different. And a lot of people say the women's revolution, the Divas revolution, give Divas a chance. Believe it or not, there was a handful of women wrestlers, Natalya, Beth Phoenix, AJ Lee. I'm going to throw Mickie James in there, and I'm going to throw Paige in there. And I think Mickie James was gone around this time, but they could actually give you what you want to see as a wrestling match. AJ Lee pretty much was, I think, like what Vince always wanted to know. Did he have somebody that can not only wrestle but can be entertaining? And boy, was she entertaining. She remember she was a commissioner. She was a general manager for a minute. She had the triangle thing going on with Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. She was with Dolph Ziggler and Big E. And then later, she became the pipe bomb artist. I don't have it. I should have downloaded it, and I probably make it a soundbite. But she dropped a promo back when they had Total Divas, and she wasn't on it, and she made it. She was like, "Yo, y'all can't hang with me," and it was kind of tough to see it, not in a bad way, but like, oh, okay, this is what's up. And then she just left, and it was kind of like it was, CM Punk wasn't around no more, who's her husband in real, her husband in real life and in kayfabe. And she wasn't missed the way you would think because there was so many copycats after her in a good way. Like I said, there was Paige, and then later you would get Bayley, Sasha Banks, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, and there's other women wrestlers, Toni Storm. And it's easily, you can see AJ Lee's DNA in every female and every woman's wrestler here and here in the WWE and AEW and TNA. You see it because AJ Lee wasn't the biggest woman wrestler. She wasn't out there, half dressed, and that's no slight, but like she wasn't doing it like, ooh, look at the body. She was like, listen to what I say, watch what I do in this ring, and I'm gonna entertain you. And it's cool to see her back. And obviously this is leading to the match with her, Punk versus Becky and Seth Rollins. Her return was huge. And why this is big is because this is what you wanted from women wrestling. You name me another person that could get a reaction the way them fans did on Friday. Let alone, this may be the biggest reaction for a women's wrestler in a long time. More than Trish, more than Lita, more like you couldn't fill in the blank. There's not another, I don't know of any other women's wrestler from the past could return and get the reaction because AJ Lee was like, she transcended the quote unquote diva wrestler. She did. So, ooh, the hell was that? So I think it was, it was pretty cool. So I decided, let's book some matches for AJ Lee. Dream matches we would want to see, apparently, because she's back for a while. By the time I get to this page, the damn show will be over. All right, so my first at the top of my list, AJ Lee versus Alexa Bliss. Come on. You don't want that? You don't want that? Like, that's like that, in my opinion, that's kind of like seeing AJ Styles versus Kenny Omega. I'm hyperbole, but I think so. AJ Lee versus Asuka. I'm going to save this last one. AJ Lee versus Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan has basically stole all of AJ Lee's swag. And that would be a battle on the promo would be awesome. AJ versus Rhea Ripley is a given. AJ Lee versus Stephanie Vaquer. But I think what could be a WrestleMania main event, AJ Lee versus Bayley. Like, I know you're like, not AJ Lee versus Charlotte? No. AJ Lee versus Bayley would be epic. AJ Lee versus Bianca Belair could be kind of cool. But AJ Lee versus Naomi would be dope. Because I think they both were around during that time. I think Naomi was rolling around with Brodus Clay. Now Titus, I think his name is Titus. Oh, is it Titus? I don't know what his name is. But that would be pretty cool. So I'm glad she's back. It's going to be exciting. I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out. I got 5 minutes. I also wrote down Vince versus Triple H. Who's the better booker? So we as fans, the first thing we do is forget about everyone's clunker. But wrestling is a 365-day-a-year job. And they're not all good. And a lot of what we thought, what I at least thought was going to happen when Triple H took over. I thought we would see a difference in the WWE presentation. And I don't know if it's because Tripp's maybe just tired, maybe he's exhausted, maybe he's got too much of Vince's leftovers helping him. But I don't really see a huge difference. Even how they book talent, even how they push talent. I tweeted out, or not tweeted, I blue skied out, because I'm on Blue Sky, not Twitter, that can we honestly sit here and say that Triple H is booking any better than Vince? A lot of Triple H's talent is old Vince leftovers. Like the guys, his top guys, CM Punk was under Vince. Roman under Vince. Seth, Vince. LA Knight is more Triple H. I would say Jey Uso, the way he's being pushed is kind of a Vince McMahon way, let's just get him over on the crowd with a bunch of silly stuff. Charlotte Flair, Vince, but you can see how she's being booked now. Trips don't know how to book Charlotte. Rhea, Vince was doing that. So, what I guess what I'm saying is, I was thinking, the thing that I noticed more is there are like more matches, but it's kind of boring. Like the matches is cool. Like the Cena versus Sami Zayn match was dope. Like that match was fire. But like the thing that makes people want to watch wrestling is the storylines. It's, you have your promo segments, sets it up, and there's a lot of stuff like Triple H just thinks we just want to see match after match, but where's the in-ring promo to set up, what's his name? The Americana character, and what's going on? Why we don't have the in-ring, the battles on the mic? If you go back and watch some old Ric Flair highlights, all his stuff, like a lot of it was in the ring, but the Horseman used to just go out, do an interview. The interview would go off the rails. He would talk smack to Dusty. They would, go back and forth. I'll see you at the Greensboro Coliseum next week. And it was to build up. And now Triple H is like, well, just watch this match that you watched last week. Again. Watch it again. And it's, I don't know. In my opinion, right now, WWE's riding the high of who their big stars are, and people want to see what's happening. But WWE is kind of I think if you're Triple H, you got to start doing stuff a little differently. NXT, on the other hand, operates on that. So it's something, I think as NXT smaller, and it doesn't have to go city by city, it makes it easier. But I don't know. I think Triple H is doing a fine job, but I would like to see more and build more excitement and build more around people that aren't Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and CM Punk. So next week we're going to talk to John Cena tour. We're going to save that. Anyway, thank you all for watching and listening. For those of you who did, I don't think many people do. So much to consider. Anyway, follow and like the show on all social media platforms. Subscribe on YouTube. Download the podcast anywhere you get your podcast, and keep listening to DJ Chase Radio. We'll be back next week. We'll talk more. As always, be safe, respect one another, hold it down, and remember we're all joined and binded, some way, somehow. See you guys. Deuces. Boy, am I hungry. My sweet. So I got this Magic Mouse thing, and I got a little too far back, and every time I'm not clicking, I'm just hitting the stupid table.